the memory card was reading full, so I had to switch them. Anyway, I was expressing that, when I do make a choice to be on some, I don't want to be angry, I want to speak from a place of love, that's when everything comes to test me, to make me figure out that balance between being positive all the time and sometimes telling someone exactly what I mean with an explicative. My new meditation is like no profanity. I know I have the words to express myself, but like my mama used to say, sometimes telling somebody to fuck off is way better and more powerful a statement than saying, excuse me, can you give me a little bit, I need a little bit of room. And I've tried, I've tried to do both. And what it's to say is that when you feel the desire to express yourself with an explicative or a profane word, it's probably for a purpose or a design reason. And that's something that I want to address within myself, not to be so hard and rigid with a certain rule or with a certain way in which I need to express myself or be, but to give myself a little bit of freedom, because when you do make a decision to only be positive, remember, we're still around very low vibrational beings, low vibrational energy, and low vibrational energy is attracted to high. That's just the way it is. When they say opposites attract, it's really to say that opposite energy is attracted to one another. So that's the statement within itself. The skin whitening cream is not going to stop. Self-hating women are going to continue to multiply in mass, because that is the agenda that I feel is being sold in mass. I remember watching the show with Bill Duke, and it was, black, dark-skinned girls. I watched it. Interesting show, interesting documentary. But what I did realize, there was a beautiful little brown-skinned girl in it, beautiful complexion, beautiful hair, and I'm watching and I'm like, she even knows she's not black. The whole thing was she didn't like being called black. She didn't like that term black. And there's so many terms and things that we're forced to call each other that we don't enjoy. And I didn't want to, I don't want to put a cap on that term black and go into it that deep. But what I do want to say is, when a little girl, especially from the mouth of babes, expresses, I don't like when people call me black, it's because she knows intrinsically that she is more than that. She knows that she's more than a color, and she's almost frustrated that no one is explaining to her what black is. Why was it created? Why is this term so important for you to identify yourself as? And that's huge. I don't think that the little girl should feel as though she should call herself black, because that's not a term that resonates with her. But if we can't expand our vocabulary and expand what we consider each other to be, then also be considered as a black girl. I wanted to almost scream through the screen and say, no, baby, you're more than that. Being a more is a verb. It is not a noun. It is active. So even when I come across people with the name El or Bay, and it's just, a term of art, because, again, these terms are now adopted, but it's not to say that it's digested. And, a lot of people, I'm thankful for the popularity of the bells, the bays, and the L's. I think it's great. But if you don't have a connection to the Moors, if you're not truly a spirit, walking in the spirit of what Moorish love, Moorish science, to be a Moor is about, love. It's almost exactly love. It's almost gonna bring out the worst in you. So I'm watching so many people be really inspired by this term now. But if there's nothing to qualify or explain why we even call ourselves Moors, then we're sitting in confusion again. And some people might like it, some people might not. The same thing with this new whitening cream. I cannot believe, do you understand that these creams are making us women infertile? This lack of loving the sun
giving you cancer.
Is giving you cancer.
Giving you ovarian cysts.
And I said it to Aseer. I was like, okay, so she's whitened her whole body. What color is her vagina?
Well, wait. Let's talk about, what's her name?
I don't know.
I'm trying to think of this chick's name. Bay Once. Let's talk about this chick paying $145,000.
He's jumping. I'm about to get into that.
But we talking about self-hate?
Yes, it is a part of self-hate, but that is another agenda. The lace fronts, the weaves, the wigs, thank God to the sister from Moesha, she just came out,
Countess
Vaughn, and they were like, yuck. At least she has the heart to express what she really went through and what it did to her truthfully. What it's done to her psychologically, how it's disintegrated the color of her real skin. She's got to put makeup on her outline, and it swole up her ears and it swole up her eyes.
What swole up?
The skin cream, the glue that attached the lace front to her head. As well as, I guess, you know, and the chemical must be the same as what's in the skin bleaching cream. And what made me so like, wow, is the desire to keep doing something that you know is not good for you just because it looks good or just because people like the way you look in that. And she said it herself. She was like, I got addicted to my hair being in this lace front. And wearing it for so long, it's destroyed her natural hairline, her hair, her ability to go outside and feel comfortable. Like, all because sometimes I think that us women don't attract people that really love us. For some reason, I think that dark-skinned women, and this is myself included, a lot of my friends, before I like really admitted to it, don't like me. They didn't like me. They were like, oh, you're growing locks? Well, you know them things is dirty, girl. Oh, well, you know, your perm. If you're trying to go through a transitional state of actually cutting the perm out of your hair, and you have family members, loved ones, boyfriends, people that don't support you, I guarantee you probably won't grow your locks.
That's right.
I cut my perm in 2000, right at a time where I broke up with my mate, who was so into, you know, I think the straight hair, the big bosom, you know, how buxom I was, but I had allergy issues. I couldn't breathe in the grass, in the trees. And it wasn't for Dr. Davidson, God rest his soul, in Brooklyn. He was the first, Ronald Davidson, he was the first doctor that I met. I was 17. He was like, girl, you're beautiful, but it's the wheat flour and the gluten and the dairy. Stop eating dairy for a while, give yourself 2 to 3 months, and tell me how you feel. That's how I started my whole journey with the no cheese, the no dairy. Yes, now I eat pizza occasionally when I really crave it, throw some goat cheese on top or whatever, but he was the first person that got me to recognize that the diet that I was raised on, which was basically pernine, pork, cheese, you know, government cheese at that, and a lot of milk and eggs to keep my teeth strong. That was back in the day knowledge. My mom did the best she could do, God rest her soul, but I'm not going to punish people for not knowing.
No.
But now in 2014, there's so much knowledge about diet, about skincare, about nutrition. Like, I started a product line out of the desire to inspire women to rub good oils in their skin, because if you're rubbing argan oil, avocado butter, coffee butter, good stuff in your skin, it will result. It's like eating food. You can't drink corn syrup and eat bacon every day and expect not to have breakouts and colon issues and issues with your digestive system. Some people might not care about that, and that's good for them. But for those that do, that don't feel good, I inspire us to try something a little different and outside the box. And I even talk about Denicia because I looked at her with brown skin. What a beautiful black woman. But she didn't think she was. So she's not. So I'll rub this skin. Same thing with Vibes Cartel. You can't change the color of your balls and your vagina. I don't care how much you rub in. Can you imagine what the insides of her body is going through? Or do we just not care anymore?
But they're saying that she's not even using the cream that she's selling to all of these people to destroy their
She's going
ovaries.
to the hospital
She's
and
going
getting,
to the hospital and getting suppository injections.
And getting injections to limit the melanin production in her skin.
Right.
But you know what I read as well? Melanin does not stop.
Nope. As soon as you stop taking it.
As soon as you stop injecting and drinking and placing, it will come back with a vengeance.
Yep. You get darker.
So either you're going to get darker or you're going to go through such health ailments.
Yep.
Like, I watch these women, and even before the knowledge came out, I said, this is not going to work for long. What are they going to do when they're in the sun? They're going to have to put on, they're going to be the new vampires.
These chicks don't go out in the sun. They don't go in the sun. They get a big-ass umbrella.
But
they get
still,
a big-ass hat.
Even with an umbrella, with a hat,
they drench themselves in mayonnaise sunscreen.
You are still going to receive the elements of the sun. And with that, you will have an allergic reaction, because what you're stopping is being promoted through that natural vitamin D. It's gonna be like a Rex. It's gonna be like what's that movie back in the day? The Manhattan Project, right? Was that the name of the movie? It was called the Manhattan Project, or it was a movie about a bomb going off, and it doesn't even matter.
That's kind of like Manhattan Project.
Yeah, basically things are like a time bomb, and if you know you can set it off and act like it's not going to explode, but eventually it's going to come to a head and explode. And that this is a disease in the mind.
Yes.
This is something that we're perpetuating through imagery.
Yes.
Like if we just see light-skinned women making it, if we see all these images of light-skinned women winning all the time, then those of us that are brown-skinned, that are born with beautiful brown skin, are gonna hate it.
Yep.
Lupita. And as much as she is winning, there's still a part of her that I can see is going through some self-hatred.
But wait, what about the new thing they're calling the Lupita effect?
Oh right, hey, I'm all for it because I'm brown skinned. So
But
hey,
she not with no. But the Lupita effect is saying that what they're saying is that all
It's
of a
cool-
sudden
it's
now
cool to be
everybody
with a
wants a
brown-skinned
dark skinned
woman.
woman. But she not with no dark skinned men. She with white men.
And then no.
She with a white man.
But it's funny because after our first show, I was like, it'll be interesting if she
Watch.
switches it up. I don't think I'm affecting things like that, but I
But we
also
are.
don't want to negate how many people do listen to stuff that don't want to act like they do.
Allah is seen and heard everywhere. Everywhere. And when you manifest the will of Allah, arm, leg, arm, head, you're going to be seen, what does it say? In the farthest reaches of space and under the smallest pebble or rock, regardless to who or what. After you, babe, I'm sorry.
There's no apologies. I'm just looking at you. Like,
Nah, it's real
that's
talk.
great. You know, it's really wonderful to read things, but so many people I even know read like all these self-help books and read, you know, how to love yourself, and it don't stop them from hating themselves
No.
at the end of the day. I think you can trick yourself into believing something, and it not be real and true.
You're not
You-
going to learn to love yourself through a book. You're not going to learn to love
but-
yourself through whatever.
But a lot of people will believe their own hype. And what I mean by, especially even the transition of like letting go of things that you know you don't need, and the effect that it has on our loved ones, that's huge. You know, I was really, if I didn't have certain people in my life that were like, wow, you know, your hair looks great and the stage is this. If I didn't have that consistency, I don't know if I would have made it through with as much vengeance. I got to a point where I just stopped feeling like I needed to make an excuse or be something that other people wanted me to be. And maybe it came through the loss of my mom, I'm not sure. Somebody's coming, let me just take a break. I love him so much, but I'm here to teach him how to love himself so he doesn't become a follower, and I'm here to teach him that he doesn't need to outsource so much external approval in order to be where he needs to be. Shout out to all the Leos out there.
Peace.
But you know, he's a Leo with the Virgo moon, which is totally different because he's thinking about everything. He knows in his mind what he's gonna execute before he even gets there. And you know, I'm just watching him because I'm trying to let go. I've been on top of him for like 5 years straight. And this is the first year that we attracted a babysitter. As soon as we attracted a babysitter that we love,
Yeah.
2 weeks later, he's like, oh, I'm moving back to New York. Our lives. So it's to never hold on to anything too hard. It's to never control anything for too long. All you can control is yourself. All you can do is figure out your little zone of happiness and be there in it. Because everything and everybody else is going to test you in that. And that's the difficulty about being here in this physical space. You're not alone. As much as I want to hermitude myself, you're not alone. So what's the balance? And that goes into talking about this skin whitening cream that is destroying not only our wombs, our brains, how we think. You're getting cancer, you can't digest your food, you can't conceive a baby, you can't, this is what it is.
It is.
And there is an agenda for especially brown-skinned women to not create brown-skinned babies.
That's right. That's right.
We read, of course you could read in between the lines. I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said before.
It's real.
But this is the problem, is like seeing gorgeous women like Beyonce, who obviously don't feel that she's all that.
Obviously.
Because for that Virgo woman to go through, sometimes I say, can she just be bitten by the Mariah Carey gene? And I call the Mariah Carey gene the real queen gene because Mariah Carey don't work that hard anymore. She put her work in, she stand on stage, she does her songs, she lets the people behind her perform. She's just giving you her voice because that's what she's talented in.
That's right.
And it's dynamic to watch because she doesn't sweat herself out. Now, Beyonce's a different type of performer. I'm not doubting her. I'm not going to negate what she's created and done. But what I will say is any woman that is willing to spend $145,000 on...
How much?
$145,000 on a weave, on hair that was
it's organic.
Organic, raised by sheep. I don't care if the hair came from a goat's ass. The thing is however it was produced, it was purchased by someone who has so much self-hate that they will put in, like
Solange.
Sometimes I just want her to Solange because her sister is dynamic, man. I don't know what that feels like to be able. It can't be something that's taught. Again, there was a side of her family that must have loved themselves because if Solange could come out with her, she's dynamic with her light skin. Because maybe she's not as caught up in it as Beyonce. But I say that to say, you have so many role models out there, Queen, and you are teaching young women that look like me to want to look like you.
And you want to look like somebody else.
By honestly not only not saying anything, but by never showing us your crown. You're such a queen, but if you can't rock your true Nemesis crown, then I really have to say you're not.
You hate yourself.
And I have to say that there is a time and a place for all of that to reign and be at the top of its ladder, but it's sad because you were probably given a girl. I didn't say you made it naturally.
Exactly.
You were probably given a daughter to figure out how to love yourself.
Yeah.
So she naturally, there's all this hype. When you have a child, people love to try to make the child, the baby look just like the father or just like the mother. Hey, boys favor their girls and girls favor their mom. Boys favor their mothers and girls favor their fathers in oftentimes. And also, I just think that it's brilliant to be able to teach your child how to love yourself by allowing them to see you wash your own hair.
That's right.
And tend to your own scalp.
That's right.
And that's what Countess Vaughn was saying. She was like, it almost triggered my heart chakra because she was like, I have a daughter and I had to teach my daughter how to love herself, regardless of what hair was on her head. This is not something easy to embrace because everybody would probably rather me look the way I did with the perm. But all those friends are no more.
Exactly. Where they at?
I started to realize the more I, let my hair be in its natural state, the more it triggered certain people to have an opinion. And I did an experiment. I was like, wow, the people that I thought are my best friends are actually telling me that I should take my locks out, or maybe I'm having problems or going through energetic, issues. And this is stuff like at my gym, like, we love your hair, but you might wanna what? Not wear what I feel to wear? Not have my little naps? Look, if you're gonna fire me because I have nappy hair, maybe you should just get your mouth wired because your teeth are crooked. Like I could tell somebody that too, and I don't. It's having some humility. Not all of us came here with Eastern European blonde locks, and why is blonde hair so valued? These are things that we should start thinking about because it's an agenda.
Yes.
Even people with blonde hair, some of them don't have natural blonde hair. Even like Mary J. Blige, and I've literally watched women for years just wear blonde hair. And it's not even the color, it's more the fact that it's not even yours.
It's not even your archetype. You are perpetuating an idea and a visage of you that's not real.
But I don't even think they realized when that visage was downloaded. Like sometimes we don't even know who we're inspired by. Bye, boys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, sweetheart. I don't think that we even recognize who we're inspired by like that. Sometimes I don't pick up magazines because I don't want to feel left out. One of my favorite clothing lines, like, catalog, Free People.
Oh, God.
Love their clothes. But there's not one image of somebody that looks like me in it. In their catalog, they've got great, great clothes. And not one of the women that are in their catalogs looks like
not
me.
One.
If you
But
have,
let's see if it flipped now, though. Now that we said it.
If you have a sister, they're usually like, you know, the quote unquote exotics. The exoticals.
She gotta be light skinned.
That's another term that's so horrific and hateful.
Exotic.
Like, what is exotical? But what I will tell you is people like Tyrese, you know, the singer Tyrese, I think he's one of the most attractive men.
Self-hating.
Face-wise.
Self-hating.
But I'm always like, is he aware? Like, if you line up the 12, 13 shorties that he's talking to the last like 2-3 years, they all look the same. All of them look like they're, you know, Brazilian, this, that. Brazilians don't even look like that.
No, they don't.
They kind of look like me,
Brazilians
but they
look
just
like that.
they just perpetuate and show us one type. So that's all we think that exists. And I'm only saying it to say that what we are seeing through Hollywood, through imagery, through movies, it's only half of what's out there in the world. It's up to us to educate our children and ourselves. It's up to us to say enough with the $145,000 hair. Like, it's so selfish because even if you have the money, to spend it on that is just so
vain. It's
oh my
vain.
God,
it's called the
beyond
bonfire
vain.
of the vanities. That's what it's called.
It's beyond vain. It's like
vanity.
It's sad.
It's self-delusion.
It's
self-illusion.
very, very sad.
It's a form of self-hatred that is so deep now, entrenched in certain aspects of quote-unquote people. Like, even when you say, okay, black, you say black. They say, oh, well, the little, like Celina was saying, the little girl didn't want to be black. But
she doesn't like
when
the
we
term.
Understand the term, what we're talking about, we know the difference between triple stage darkness black, meaning we're coming out of the ancient recesses of our ancient ancestors out into physical form as so-called melanated people that will term black. But that's different than the status that the so-called term black equates to in this country.
Right.
In this country, it equates to somebody that is not in control of their mind. Somebody who is a criminal, somebody who is punished, somebody who is lacking, someone who is sullen, colored over, varnished, or dyed. That's what it means. So when we get over here now in the United States, the only place where it is a status thing like that is here in the United States. So as much as they want to perpetuate everybody's equal, it's all equality, we're all doing this, we're all doing that, it's not really like that. Can you step back a little, boss?
You have to step back only because the light gets blocked off. Thank you, sweetheart.
Perfect right there.
But,
so what happens is it creates a schism in the mind where you want to be culturally accepted by people who are melanated and look like you, but you also don't want all of the negative connotations that come with that, because nobody has ever sat down to adequately assess why we're like that.
Or why that term is
or
like the
why
only term.
In the United States you got to be a color. Well, maybe it's because they're under colorable law here. And in a colorable society, you can't be a human being. You got to be whatever color they say you are, because the government is associating you as that to give itself a reason to function. So on all of the applications you've ever filled out, anytime you've been in this world, in this country specifically, they ask you to say black, white, Native American, this, that. What does it matter? What does it matter what ethnicity or race or whatever I am, unless you're trying to qualify, right? Make money or qualify me or quantify me or marginalize a certain section in this society. For instance, whenever you see so-called young black girls, like in that documentary or whatever, why is it that you never hear so-called black girls or black men or whatever say things like, I always wanted to be Chinese, I always wanted to be Puerto Rican, I always wanted to be whatever? Why is it always a juxtaposition between, if you're black, you want to be white, if you're white, you want to be black? But there's all these other so-called races and ethnicities and nationalities in the world, but in this country, it's always juxtaposed between these two extremes. Why? When neither one of them is a color.
And there is a reason behind it. It's a multitude of reasons, because you know, if you can get paid from something, if you can control someone's mind, you can control how far they're willing to go. If you can make someone believe that there's something that they're not, then you're actually the one in control. And you don't have to be in the same room in order to make that happen.
Nope.
You can be sitting in a totally different space and still have the same control, the same dominant power. We're watching another, just to jump, switch lanes real quick. To jump real quick, I was watching a documentary with some porn stars, you know?
Oh, man.
And it was ill. They had me. I was watching it and I was like, wow, if I didn't really know the science behind sex rituals and the things that women sometimes do when we're in pain, I might have been convinced that being a porn star was a sexual revolutionary experience
Right.
and was something that was empowering me.
Right.
I watched a lot of them, and these are some women that were not stupid,
No.
not dumb at all. Actually, really, really intelligent women.
But broken.
But there was something that happened to them. Maybe when they were 7, 6, 7, 8. You can see it in their eyes if you read body linguistics. They're not even completely all there. They have convinced themselves, like Denicia with the skin whitening cream, that what they are doing is paramount, is empowering, is making them a better person. So it's not for me to say it's not, but it's for me to educate my own children and to create a delineation and say, whoa, 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 whoa. You don't come from that though.
That's right.
You know, so many women that I do end up talking to, I do realize they might take me as a joke because I don't have all the sexual experience with, you know, a multitude of partners to convince other people that I know what I'm talking about. That actually is what gives people merit here. You know, how many numbers? Well, girl, you don't know what you're talking about. You only been with that one man and that one dude or those two brothers.
But she ain't with, but this person ain't with nobody.
I'd rather be with just 1 or 2 people in my life than to be with 10 that I wasn't sure of, you know?
10? These chicks' numbers be high.
But that's me. I'm not even going into the numbers because everybody has a different, you know, a different number of the values, whatever it is they feel they've experienced. I just, in knowing myself, if I'm connected to whomever is going to be inside of me, then that means that connection is going to take place even if we're not having sex, if we're not intimately together in bed. So that means if I've had over 10 or 20 partners, that those are 10 or 20 downloads that are going to be constant in my life. You're going to always think, oh, damn, remember that guy? I know women remember things like that if they could remember what they, you know, wore last week to a party. You've got to remember what that exchange was with that brother, and that means that that experience is with you from now into eternity. That was just too much for me to take on. I didn't want, you know, I'm more attracted to men that say, yo, that's a bad bitch, but I ain't put much in her. That is so sexy to me.
You got to know how to say no.
Saying no is saying yes to yourself sometimes.
That's right.
And I realized, like, there's different levels here, you know? It's like watching The Matrix. Remember The Matrix with Keanu? And, you know, there was different levels of The Matrix. Some people were at the ground level. Some people were at the level where they knew they were actually in the Matrix. And what I want to say about that is not everybody is here to evolve. No. Not everybody is here to be better people.
No.
Some people are here to really be lords of this realm.
That's it.
To be gods of this physical reality. And that's great for them. It's just, I don't want to, I know I can't take all of this with me. And if I do believe in something greater than this dimensional reality, our son is wonderful. This dimensional reality, then I've got to have faith that everything happens for a reason.
For instance, wait. Yesterday, not to cut your wisdom, queen. Yesterday, I'm waiting for the queen. She's in a store exchanging something. I'm out there, and there was 3 quote-unquote sisters that walked by. And I was out there. I didn't have this one on, but I had on the red one with the white turban and the red jewel or whatever. So as they're walking by, one of them looks at me. Now, they're obviously from the continent, but you would not know that if you didn't know your people, because they got the blonde weave, the fake breath, all it fake. So as they're walking by, one of them starts speaking in Wolof. Now, I guess they don't think that all of us know what Wolof is, but again, I grew up in my household with my great-grandmother, blessed the dead. She went out to the undersecretary or the sub-ambassador or whatever to the Gambia at the time. Big up Uncle Badu. Anyway, he used to speak Wolof and all that all the time around the crib. So I know it when I hear it. And I also know certain words. So as they walk by, one of them was talking or whatever. And then she used, right when they passed me, she used the word blah, 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 akata. When she said akata, I stopped because I know what that means. For those people, those Moors, those people in America who don't know what that means, that's an African way of saying nigger, right? Because they don't look at us as we're the same of them, because they know Africans know that ancestrally we are of a different seed. They know that. But here in this country, they make everybody believe that if they're so-called melanated, they're from Africa, i.e. imported slaves. So when she said the word akata, I turned to her. I said, I know you're not trying to call me that. She said, what? She turned around and looked at me. She was so shocked that I even knew. I said, yo, you talking all of this crap about me, but look at you. I said, your ancestor, your father, your father's father, and your father's father probably wore tarbush just like this. You Somalian, right? Homegirl just, she bugging. She don't know.
He froze
She
her.
froze. So then I said, well, you know what?
That's good though.
It's good that you don't know. I said, but next time you start talking that, especially when you see somebody in habit, don't play yourself, because you never know who you talking to. Because your ancestors are totally done with you based upon you trying to look like a Magunza.
Ooh.
When I said that, them all three of them just stopped. Just stopped. They didn't know what to say, what to do, whether to walk. So I walked away. You know what I'm saying?
And what's great about that story is, you know, sometimes we have to be bold and say something. Just express, because this is also the time we're not here. There's some under the rug. We don't acknowledge. They don't think.
That's right.
We were waiting for a table. We went out to eat the other day. It's another funny good story. Went out to eat the other day, and the couple was leaving. It was two women, a woman and a guy. They were leaving, right? And the guy was like, "Oh, I'll clear this table off for you. You know, get it ready for you in a second." They started clearing the table, getting her stuff off. She decided to sit back down in her table.
She sat back down.
Took out her phone. She decided to stay because we were the next in line to sit down.
Yeah.
And it just was her little moment to sit there.
To feel powerful.
To let us know that she didn't have to move. And all right, great. So I looked at him and he was like, Mommy, she was getting up. I said, but she decided to sit back now. This is the way it is in the world. You have to be patient, right? And he was like, but she was, and I said, but nothing. So about 10 minutes later, mind you, the check was paid, everything was cleared. They see us waiting. Now, when I know someone's waiting, I don't even have to have my check there. I'm the type like, oh my God, it's busy. Let me get up so that they can, this is me. And that the waiter's like, you're not even finished eating, whatever with them, let them wait. But I'm so like, if I see somebody waiting, let me hurry up what I'm doing, because I would want somebody to be as attentive to me. So I put that out there so that hopefully I could attract the same and that people treat me the same. Didn't get up, didn't want to get up, decided to stay sitting down. So then boom, God is good. Another table opens up. So the guy's like, oh, you know, while they're thinking, we can think. I said, well, this is exactly what I said.
Right.
I said, Amor said, oh, we're going to another table? I said, yeah, let these fat bitches stay fat.
Exactly.
And I walked away. They heard me because they were standing there the whole time.
In shock, but they was in shock.
They were in shock that I called them exactly what they were.
Exactly.
Let these fat bitches stay fat.
That's right.
At this table.
That's right.
Because I only see negative when you act negative.
When you act negative.
You can be 300 pounds of cheese whiz. If you got a good heart, I'm loving you up and down.
That's right.
It's not until you try to negate or act like, oh, well, my cheese whiz, you know what, cheesy? You cheesy whiz. That's when I end up calling your name. Because we're all in this together. Like, why not be a little human? Because some people just really get off at being subhuman.
Yep.
And that's just the way it is.
Yep.
So it's for us to recognize and to remind each other that what we see on TV is not all that exists.
It's not.
Blonde hair, taking each other's man. Somebody the other day was like, oh, I know, you can leave that at the door, you don't have to be, you don't have to think being afraid. I'm not afraid of that. These women can't share shoes.
No.
We can't share clothes. What am I going to share penis with?
Exactly.
Let's try doing that first.
Can't even do
Why
that.
would I share or think that I could share a place of intimacy?
They can't even share a compliment.
When you can't even give me a piece of gum when I ask you for it.
Right. Oh, well, that's
right,
my gum.
Tristan? So, it's the same thing in school. Somebody said to me the other day, with our dog, we got a great little dog, said to me the other day, oh, how would you like it? He was telling a woman, the dog always antagonizing the big dog. And he said, one day I'm going to let my dog go and attack your dog. The woman, oh, well, why would you? He said, how would you feel if your child was being teased in school every day? That's what your dog is doing to my dog. She's teasing her. And I keep pulling her back. But you know what? One day I'm going to let her go. and I'm gonna let that little dog be lunch for my big dog.
Now apply that same rationale
concept
to a people. To a people.
If you're constantly being antagonized, told that you're not there.
By someone.
Exactly. Treated like you're not there when you're right there.
That's right.
Then eventually one or two things is gonna happen. That person's gonna have an allergic reaction and really let you know you're there, and somebody's gonna get hurt. So rather than us getting hurt, let's pay attention to our energy and try to be a little bit balanced. It's not to say we're always gonna be right, but a little bit of balance is better than none.
That's right. Inshallah.
And that's the same thing. It's like, you know, we can't hope. Thank you, sweetie. We can't hope for people to be great and to be grand. All we can do is take care of ourselves. All we can do is hope that taking care of ourselves with love will attract other people to do the same. And right? And will also remind people that it's not all about how you look here.
That's right.
It's great to think. I even told Aseer sometimes we don't get certain donations and payments because we look good. This is all old thrift stuff, babes.
Yeah, people believe that we
figuring out ways to recycle and wash and woolite and figure out a way to preserve my shoes because there might be a day that I can't afford to buy it.
That's right.
And I don't like that. There was a time that I thought that I could live off the inheritance that was given to me. Then 9/11 came.
And they tried to bring us there that
day. I had an appointment.
We had an appointment that day. I'm sorry, baby.
You know what else is crazy? To know that my name, Cordoba, is the Cordoba mosque that's sitting in 9/11.
All right.
So was I supposed to? Is that a message to me?
Yeah.
No.
Is that something that I should think of and take personally? Like literally, we had a meeting the morning that 9/11 went down.
On the 77th
floor.
You were born in 1977.
Yes, but more than that, it was for, you know, an inheritance that I got after my mom died. I thought that 400,000 would be there because it was told to me that it would be there. And you know what happened after 9/11? It was all gone. All of it was taken. People that had more than $1 million, their money didn't really get touched as much.
That's right.
I wasn't there. I was at like 500,000.
That's right.
All of my money went from $489,000 to $23,000.
That's right.
I took that $23,000 out, paid a portion of my bursar's bill at Syracuse, and called it a day.
That's right.
Tried to get compensation, nothing there.
Oh, no.
But you know what's been compensating? Knowing that the night that we decided not to go, he was painting a picture, rolling mad L's, going to the head. And I was like, oh, Brooklyn, ding-a, ding-a, ding, 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 ding-a, ding-a, ding, ding, having fun. Like, yo, it's 3 in the morning. Yeah, man, F this meeting. We blazing.
We overslept.
We blazing, we chilling, we painting.
Yep.
That morning, I can honestly say that art and herb.
That's right.
Art plus herb
Art, herb,
equates
and
life.
love. That's
Art,
right.
herb, love, life. Art, herb, love, life.
That's right.
Because those are the things that really slowed me down to almost save me.
Matter of fact, next show I'm gonna have the painting in the back. We're gonna auction
Well,
that
the
off.
painting,
Anybody wants
and I told her, I was like, people see things and it's different than seeing it. I actually have receipts of how much money I had stolen from me. And that was a very like, suicide.
Thanks, Silverstein.
Like, should I be feeling like this? Like, everything was kind of put in that egg for myself. So then when that egg got taken, it was like, well, obviously God has me here for a reason.
That's right.
You know, and then I met him. Then we started with the, you know, oh, you know what your name means? Yeah, I do. You know what my name? If we weren't supposed to put these pieces together, God would have never allowed our energy to merge the way it did. Because I knew intrinsically, but I didn't have all the facts. Then he had all the facts, but didn't have all the faith. So the faith and the facts together took us far.
Yes,
and I'm not even a quarter of where I'd like to go.
Word.
But what I do know is that things that people say are not real, to dissuade you from believing that they are sometimes more real than what's just in front of you.
That's right.
And if you're praying for insight and wisdom and for health and for love, truly from a heart shock, a heart space of like really, you know, of love, then you're going to be good.
Yep.
The same thing. There's times that, you know, I don't feel like all loving like that. And on those days, I think about what's making me angry. I confront it, I think about it, I try to breathe it through, and I take time to really deal with whatever energy I'm feeling in that moment. Right. There's no way to get over anger in a day.
No.
But I also know that I was raised in Brooklyn for a reason, to give me a little edge, to give me a little behind my vessel. Because who knows how I would have been if I was just in a place of exalted love all the time. I feel like, same thing, a good friend of mine, an acupuncturist, told me, he was like, look, you're about to go to New York, you're a vegetarian, you haven't eaten any meat in 20 years. Do me a favor and buy a steak and just cook it and take a bite. Even if you don't, I was like, oh, no! Literally. But it's to say that there was something in me that was so like this, I needed to be grounded.
That's right.
Needed to be carnal for a second. You're about to fly, you're about to deal with interesting energy. Take on a little something. I couldn't chew more than a bite, but in doing it, I remember that I had so much energy in a different way. Like, I had energy to stay up past 4 in the morning. He fell asleep.
I was the opposite. I ate it.
He fell asleep right away.
And I did a class. I had to teach a class right after we ate. And then maybe 5-10 minutes before the class was done, I started to feel just not drained. I just felt
a different energy, like something inside of him
yeah.
was probably asking for some time to digest.
Right.
And that's when I realized I really can't eat meat ever again like
not
this.
Like that.
Because what it is, it's more than the flavor and the taste. It takes a long time for whatever I've eaten to process.
That's right.
So meat for me, I literally feel dense and heavy and weighed down. And there might be a reason for that. There might be a need for me to tap into that in the future.
Every once in a while.
But right now, I'm okay with saying that I know some people's blood type and some people that I've met, they do need a steak once a month.
Word.
They're too angry. I've met some vegetarian vegans and it's like, yo, you might as just go to McDonald's.
Let me
because
tell
you are angry.
Yeah.
You need some French fries, something that brings you joy from your childhood. And I bring up McDonald's because Happy Meals did that for me. I hate to say it, but my mom couldn't provide certain things, and at times we would go to McDonald's, and getting your little Happy Meal with the toy was extremely exciting. So for me, if I was ever to reach a place of loneliness or sickness, maybe a Happy Meal will bring me out of my whatever. Right, Tristan? Because food is also there to make us happy.
Sense memory.
Sense memory, things that bring us joy, don't negate them. I don't say like, okay, if you enjoy drinking every day, you should have a glass of wine. Things in moderation. But you can't strip yourself of human, tangible, physical, concrete things that make us here, that make us physical still.
We're 50% human, 50% physical, 50% non-physical.
Thank you, sweetheart.
50% physical, 50% non-physical. As much as we're about love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, and equality, and as much as we're about
sometimes to get equality, you have to tell someone they're being unjust.
Exactly.
And that might throw you off your center. But that's the thing even with yoga. Once you find your center of balance, you almost have to go beyond it and do other exercises that take you out of that just so your body can learn, so you don't stagnate.
That's right.
So you don't just be in a place of perfection, that you don't grow. Everybody always tells you adversity, it's what you go through in life that tests your character. And I've met a lot of really wealthy women in this life, and they're like kind of